Hey guys, yes, Andy and spoken label, my friend Sheila Seal, the man from Delmonte. Now we've had all kinds of technical trouble, Sheila, didn't we? It crashed after about
We have,
15
we
minutes.
have.
I know it's typical. Like Sheila was a sermon which we tried to reboot. We both kind of lost track where we were up to then. So if we end up repeating an information, I do apologise in advance. But we're going to talk about obviously the live noise gig. Now, obviously, with the live noise gig, Sheila. Obviously, you said before you did this in a white dress, didn't you? So, is there much you can remember about that gig? Well, the big noise
Uh,
gig, not live noise.
but it was live, big noise, live
Yeah,
album, big noise.
yeah.
So you're quite right. It was live. What I remember about that gig, it was incredibly exciting because it was international too. It was absolutely heaving. I was very pregnant, which is what, hence the dress, the big white 8-month pregnancy dress. I remember being so hot that we were actually steaming, which had never happened before. So we're sweaty, sweaty. I've got a towel and wiping down the neck of the bass. And we went outside afterwards and we were all actually just steaming. You know, I don't mean pissed, I mean
Yeah.
steam coming off of our bodies and clothes, and then wiping ourselves down and going back to do an encore. And that was just incredibly exciting. That was the last proper gig I did with the
Oh,
Delmontes
was it?
because,
Oh,
uh,
right.
yeah, because then I stopped and had a baby. And there's some beautiful video footage, but so a little story about this, that the baby was born, Rachel, my second child, was born in the cottage in Castlefield, in the room that you can see upstairs and overlooking the canal. So she
Oh,
was actually
wow.
born in that room. I forgot to tell my husband, my lovely husband Peter, I forgot to tell him that the band were coming around the next day with a film crew. So, we're all there. It's all been incredibly exciting and wonderful. We have this brand new baby. And then there's a knock on the door and there's the whole band. And Peter's like, oh, for God's sake. So film crew. So they were in. There's no film of me that day because I was absolutely knackered. But there's a beautiful little bit of filming with my 3-year-old son Jack, who's going to come to the reunion gigs. I'm hoping my daughter will too. She can. She's a teacher, so it's more complicated. But Jack's there holding his brand new, less than 24-hour-old sister, and it's just beautiful.
Oh,
It's such a lovely
wow.
wee video.
Oh,
And then they carried on to make some film outside in Castlefield. But that last gig, yeah, it was very exciting. It was great. And then this lovely guy, Anthony Eagle, double bass player, took over from me, sort of as maternity cover. But then I never got back, and the band split up before anything got back going. To be honest, it's incredibly hard to be in a band like that unless you've got loads of money. When you've got two small children, because you've got a partner at home looking after them, you're traveling quite a lot. It just, I don't know how people do that.
yeah. No, I know stories
So
about
it's
that
very,
myself.
very,
Yeah, yeah. Same.
yeah.
One of my favorite bands was the 80s band Talk Talk, and Mark
Oh, yeah.
Hollis, their singer, and he had two young kids at the time we got to the last album, and he said at the
Yeah.
time, he said, he knows people who had done it, that wasn't him, so he stepped aside
Yeah.
completely. So yeah, I
Yeah.
can I can sympathise and understand with that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
obviously, fast forward a couple of years, obviously,
Yeah.
they obviously didn't really go on for that long, did it? But I know you were briefly with Mike, back with Mike, weren't you, with Suburbia as well?
Yes, we were, because after Delmonte, I think Rachel was probably about a year or 18 months, and Mike suggested we get another band, and that became Suburbia. And I really loved doing that. But again, it was very hard because I remember putting the kids to bed, or Peter putting the kids to bed and going out. And my husband's an artist, so he'd go out to his studio and I'd go out on my bike to rehearsal studio in Openshaw, and then you're getting back late. You've got to get up in the morning. It was very hard as well, but it was fab. I loved playing with Suburbia. I loved it. Had a slightly more laid back, a lot more laid back than the Man from Del Monte, which was also great, but it was kind of slightly more not jazzy at all, but we had a kind of jazzy drummer, and yeah, I liked that, and we did
Yeah,
a few gigs, and then that wasn't to continue. I think the drummer went to live in London, and Mike went to America.
yeah, times
So
changed, didn't they, really? And after that, obviously, like I said, is you were telling me
yeah,
before you went into teaching after that more, didn't you, really, as
yeah.
well?
Well, I just had to get a job because I just needed some money. So I got a job in a local school, and because I could do music, I ended up doing a bit of teaching music and playing the piano quite a lot, and also other stuff. But then getting involved with other schools, and ended up working in about 5 different schools doing primary music and gardening. I've always done gardening wherever I've gone. Always
Oh,
passion gardening. So
brilliant.
So I'm now only at one school now. I'm just at Malden Road Primary School, which is a lovely, lovely school with a big garden. I only do 2 days a week now, but I still teach all the kids. And I'm really passionate about the idea of music in primary schools, but not the way that the government talks about it, which is that every child should learn an instrument. Yes, in an ideal world, but every child should learn to sing and to listen because it's all about the ears. As the kids I teach will tell you, I'm always saying, what is the most important bit of your body? And they go, oh, your brain, oh, your voice, oh, your legs, because we do a lot of movement. And I said, no, your ears. Because if you're not listening, you can't do anything.
Yeah, I always remember when I was at school myself, like back in the 80s, and the teacher at the time said I didn't have any sort of musical talent at all. Not that it's stopped me ever since. But they
They said
always
that.
like, yeah. But they always, I always remember a teacher telling my mum and dad, said like, the music your Andrew listens to, said he outguns everyone else in his class because he's just got such a wide variage.
That's
And I always
good.
have done because like it's my dad's Scottish or he's part Scottish and he's got me listening to Scottish bagpipe music and folk music when
Wow.
I was younger than country music and then I went all kinds of weird directions when I got older. So
That's good because music is a vast spectrum. And I think back in the day when I was at music college, it wasn't, people didn't really think like that. It was like classical music, classical music. One of my sisters is a very successful folk musician in Scotland. She plays the clarsach. And she's introduced me to lots of things. And, there's just such a wide spectrum. And I think it's really important for children to be introduced to things,
yeah.
even if they don't take anything up. It doesn't matter. It's there. You can have it if you want. You give it to them. If they want it, they'll take it, and if they don't, that's okay.
Yeah,
But I
yeah, I
can't
agree.
believe the damage that music teachers particularly have done to people saying, "Oh, you can't sing in tune, don't sing." I, ugh.
It's never stopped me. Like I said, I was in a goth band when I
Good,
was 19 or 20 gone.
good.
We were bloody awful we were, but we
It
had a
doesn't
good
matter.
we had a good laugh, right? That's the way I look at it. So
Yeah,
obviously now then obviously we need to look all these years forward now. Can you tell us obviously I've heard Ian Lee's side of the story, how this all happened.
yeah,
But
yeah.
can you tell me how your reaction was when you asked could get back involved again with the man from Delmonte?
Well, it's funny because I've seen Howard over the years because I'm friends with his wife and I'm friends with him, and he lives in Manchester. And I've seen Mike because he used to come over from the States with his family and stay with us if they were touring around here sometimes. So I've always been in touch with them. I hardly ever go on Facebook, and just for some reason, I might have gone on Facebook, and there was a message from this guy Ian Lee, just wondering how you would ever feel about a Del Monte reunion. And funnily enough, the deputy head teacher at my school, her husband is a massive Del Monte fan. And she
Oh
said to me,
wow.
I know she said to me over and over, Martin says, can you not get back together again? When can you get the band? And I was like, that's not going to happen. But then this message pops up for me and just wondering about this. And my memory of it is that he said, Mike says he'll do it if the others will do it. And Martin says he'll do it if the others will do it. And, if it's like, well, yeah, if everyone will do it, maybe the other will do it. So I said, yeah, I'd do that. It'd be great. It'd be fun. And then that's where it started for me. It was just like, all right, it is happening. Okay. Oh, we better get a date together to practice. And here's the list of songs, and then that was last weekend. And we got together for a whole weekend in Wales, where Mike lives now, in Mike's studio.
Well, that makes
And
life easier to get to rehearsals, definitely that way, instead of going to America for rehearsals.
yes, well, exactly. And it's a long way from Martin, who lives in Glasgow. But he
Yeah.
did it. He drove down and we all stayed and we played for hours and I got a blister again. I've had a blister for
Oh,
ages. It's
oh,
good. No, it's
oh,
good.
in a good way, yeah.
Build it up. Yeah. Bit
Yeah,
hard to win.
brilliant. Now, obviously, I'm not going to ask the spoilers what you could be playing because obviously next year because I've got tickets for the academy gig. To be honest with you,
Right.
I was the job I was at the time bugging me up on the bloody first gig for the Band of the Walls. I missed it completely, but I'll be there for the academy gig. So,
Great, great.
you
The
know,
first one sold out in about 20 minutes. I think we
yeah,
were all totally shocked.
yeah.
We had no idea it would be like that. No.
Yeah, that's what I heard, and straight away,
Right.
like it's my mate of mine I used to work with. He's coming onto the academy gig as well, and he said
Yeah.
the same. He tried to get tickets. They said it went like that. He said he was
Yeah.
stunned. It was
Yeah.
like it must have been a shock to the four of you. Do you think yourself like,
Uh,
wow,
it was just like, whoa, this is way bigger than we thought it was. I thought, yeah. Well, first of all, Ian had suggested Night and Day, which is a lovely venue, but it's very small and it's very long and thin. I don't know if you know it.
yeah, no,
And
I've done a
big
gig set
venue.
before. Yeah, it's a funny venue.
Right, right. No, if you're unless you're in the front row, you can't see anything. So I said, no, I don't want to do that, and suggested a few other places, and he got Band on the Wall. And I was like, yeah, that's great. I hope we sell enough tickets.
Yeah, boom.
So it's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Oh yeah, completely. It will, because that place is gonna be like absolutely rocking that night. It will be.
It is
So,
going to be, it's going to
oh
be
yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm not
Yeah.
going to ask what your set list is going to be yet, because obviously, like people wondering, obviously, you're probably still deciding on that. But
Yeah.
when you got to Mike's studio, was there any songs that he suggested that you looked at him and said, "I don't remember that song"?
Oh yes. didn't take very, it didn't take very long. As long as I'd been listening through not podcasts, SoundCloud and things like that, and YouTube, just to hear the songs we did and what key were they in and how does that tune. I can't remember that. I can't play that fast now. But then you do, you work it out, and it came back really well actually. Because once you start, it's like a physical memory, isn't it? You just
Yeah.
but there's a couple he's put in that were, one was a Suburbia song, and one was a Delmonte song after I'd left, and I think one was a song he wrote when he was on his own, when he was touring on his own in America. So we got a few extras that people might not know. Which, oh, talk about earworms! I have just had such a lot of earworms for the last weeks. Like one stops and the next one starts, and it's just like, oh god, stop.
Oh yeah, completely, completely with that one. Like people obviously researching, they will see currently you've got 4 gigs penciled in for next year, and
Yes.
you've got one obviously at the Band on the Wall. Then there's one, is it Rothenstall or Ramsbottom Way, wasn't it?
Yes, up that way somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm
that
sorry.
way
It's
you'll
quite
find it. You'll find it in social
Sunday.
media. Yeah, somewhere in social media. I know there's a London gig penciled in as well, and obviously
Yeah.
I know there's tickets still available for the Academy gig, which me and my wife will be going to. So, and
Yes.
I
I
had
think
great fun getting my wife to put it into your music the other week, because Amanda's like 7.5 years younger than me, so she was
oh,
way before that time.
it's wild.
Yeah, yeah, she magical child
Yes.
bride.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What did she think when you
She
played her
loved
the stuff?
it. She loved My
Oh,
Love Is
good.
Like a Gift, and then because
Yeah.
I've got a sister called Louise, and she kept singing me. Well, nobody saved Louise.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. You
Yeah,
mention a word now, my husband's off on it. Da, 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 da,
yeah.
da. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, completely. Obviously, I know it's early days yet, but do you think you'll want to do more gigs after these initial 4 gigs next year?
I think it will depend on what people want us to do, really.
Yeah,
I think I get the feeling that people, the band would be up for it if it was the right sort of thing. I think I mentioned to you off recording thing that I'm not up for driving up and down the M6 or the M1 or any other M anythings in the middle of the night anymore.
no,
No.
no, no.
There has to be there, and also it's quite tricky to practice because we're all over the place. But I'd love to be honest. I really enjoyed it. We'll see how the actual performing live, whether that fulfills. I'm sure it will. That kind of like, it's quite exciting now because it was quite hard before because of having small children and the craziness of it all, and being young. And now I'm older. I think I've got nothing to lose. Just get out
Yeah,
there. And,
just enjoy
yeah,
it. I think sometimes you
enjoy
go
it.
back to things years later like that. It's happened to me with
Yeah.
bands. You do
Yeah.
like the pressure's off, and I think when you're young,
Yes.
sometimes you put yourself under pressure,
Oh
and
God. Yeah. You think I want to make a career of this? I've got to make money. I've got to make money so I can keep doing it. And
yeah,
it's just it would be so nice not to have anything to worry about and just enjoy playing. Because
yeah, and
and also I've got voice issues, so I'm not sure if I can do all this high backing vocals. We'll
I
see what happens.
yeah, spoke so.
Years of teaching has fucked up my voice. Sorry, I shouldn't
Oh,
have said that.
oh, we'll wait about it, right? It's a
Right.
rarity, honestly, Sheila. I'll be honest with you, this podcast. I have to put adult content warning on it. Usually when I drop F-bombs and things go wrong, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm used to that. And we've had a 10-minute crash, I've been wondering today already.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, okay, right, no, let's move on, right? So yeah, now obviously, before I know you've got another like band going at the moment, haven't you? You're telling me about this off mic before, and I think we should
Yes.
tell people about this story and what, because you're actually gigging today after we
Oh
finish.
yes, I
So
am.
yeah, tell us about this
Yeah.
group you got
Okay.
going at the moment.
What happened with that was I can't remember how I initially met somebody who said, we've got this little orchestra. It's kind of klezmer-ish type of orchestra. You could come and play because I used to play the viola. So I borrowed a viola and I went along to the orchestra and I realized that actually playing the viola, I would have to practice a lot because it's not fretted. So, and it's very uncomfortable playing the viola. So I didn't want to do that. but the guy that runs that said, "Oh, well, you play the bass. Can you come along and play the bass at this thing that I'm doing on the back of a lorry in Stockport in the storm?" There was a storm. It was really windy, really rainy, some festival. And I didn't know the music, so I had to read the music. I don't read bass music. And I can better now than I ever could before. But I had to kind of read this music, but it was flying all over the place. And it was just bonkers. But I was playing with a wonderful guy whose name escapes me right now, who's a djembe player, and that kind of held it all together, and it worked. And from that came a band called Levy Metal, not heavy metal, but Levy, because we all lived in Levy.
Love the title there. Oh,
brilliant, totally anarchic, a really bizarre group of people together, and some fantastic musicians, but difficult to get together because it sometimes be like up to 15 people in the band. So that was and then that's kind of on the side at the moment somewhere, possibly to be redone. And then I got to join the Hard Times Capelli, which is a klezmer band, and they've been playing together for years. And there's just a bunch. There's a lovely young French cajon player and a fabulous trumpet player who's a friend of mine who's a jazz trumpet player, really, he plays, and then these other guys. And we're playing this afternoon at Didsbury Baptist Church, but it's all sold out anyway. So that's a fundraiser. That's just fundraising. We always just do fundraising. We don't do it for money, but it's good fun. It's good fun. Yeah. Plays my music on the whole for bass is dum 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 dum, that kind of thing.
Wow, no, brilliant. No, good luck. They definitely went out this afternoon. So, yeah, well, that's pretty all my questions today, Sheila. I want to thank you today for this. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now, I've said people will check. We can suggest people obviously check to go on. Obviously, have you got a website? Did Ian set a website up for you? Am I imagining things?
I don't know. Possibly you could look.
I'm sure there's something knocking around anyway.
There's a Facebook group. Facebook group anyway.
Yeah, we'll definitely recommend people go to the Facebook group where this will be going live anyway. Yeah, and obviously, like I said, check out the gigs that are coming up next year and
definitely. So London possibly and Manchester International. No, Academy 2.
Academy 2, yeah. I would love the International still to be open because I was at one or two of the last gigs and they were brilliant. Yeah, big fan of that venue, and I was also like a big fan of the boardwalk as well at the time.
Oh, yes. Oh, I never told you that story, actually. Have I got a second to tell you the beginning?
Yeah, go for it, please.
The beginning, one of the first gigs we did that I can remember being important was going to the boardwalk, and we lived in Castlefield, so just around the corner from the boardwalk. And I can remember myself getting there, and the others were saying they could remember getting off the train, walking down the road to the boardwalk, thinking, "God's an awful lot of people down here. What's going on? There's just a massive queue. What's happening?" Realizing they were all queuing to get into the boardwalk to see us, and that was a bit like what's happening now. It's just like, oh, this is bigger than we thought it was. That's good.
Wow. Oh, it's brilliant. It's a big surprise stuff like that happens. Yeah. I always remember the boardwalk because that was the loudest gig I ever went to. And I saw Stereo Lab there, if you remember them from the 90s, mid-90s. Oh, good grief. And I had an exam the day after because I did all my GCSEs in the 90s. And I went in there and I couldn't hear a thing on the actual exam because my ears was ringing from the feedback. And it was like, I had to turn around and tell the moderator, "You have to tap me on the shoulder when you want me to talk because I can't hear you."
That's so bad for your ears. You shouldn't do that anymore. No. We supported the Proclaimers there once, and I love the Proclaimers. Do you know the Scottish band?
Oh, yeah. Seen them brilliant stuff,
yeah, I love them. I remember saying to them, "Hey, if you ever need a bass player, I'll come and play with you." That didn't happen.
Oh, what's the story about? Is it correct that you've supported James at some point as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I read that,
Yeah, we used to support James a lot, actually, and they were lovely. In fact, Jimmy Glennie, who's the bass player in James, his brother or his father-in-law, I think it was his father-in-law, put the central heating in our house like 35 years ago. It's touch wood, it's still going.
Oh wow! I've met Tim Booth twice, and I liked him actually. Honestly, he was a really nice guy. Yeah. Really top bloke.
Yeah, good fun guys they were.
Yeah.
Wow. It was lovely to be in that.
Yeah.
But they've obviously pushed up to the top as well again, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. So if you listen to this podcast, track Sheila down, get them support you on your stadium tours next year or the year after.
Yes, James, that would be great, Tim. Thank you.
well, Sheila, anyway, we'll wrap up here because we're going to talk a bit more anyways. But it's been a pleasure today. I've been looking forward to this. Thank you. And I look forward to meeting you next year at the Academy because definitely looking
Absolutely.
forward to that. So,
Definitely. Thank you
anyway,
so much for having me on. Okay,
thank you
take
again,
care.
Sheila. Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Right, people. Yeah, as I said, yeah, it's been a pleasure. I've looked forward to this for a couple of weeks, this podcast. So, thank you again, Sheila. As Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe and importantly, stay over like Sheila has today. And we'll see you all next time.